2026 regular meeting. Everybody, please stand. You're able and willing for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunny, would you do the roll call, please?
Chairman Brian Griffith is absent. Vice Chairman Louis Sartell.
Here.
Treasurer Mark Bisecker.
Here.
Commissioner Arlen Griffey.
Here.
And Commissioner Eric Nolan.
Here.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody's looked at the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for this evening?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? There being none. We'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved unanimously. Are there any public comments for tonight?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of this regular meeting? So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Yes.
Executive Director's report.
He's on the phone for a minute.
Yeah, I know.
We'll be right back.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get on the line, yeah.
They're trying.
Yeah, you can't do that. I do that. I've done that exact thing. Because on some of them, you have to hit pound at the end of it. That sounded magical.
It's open though.
That's Brian. Tell him, don't worry about it. We got this. We're gonna spend all the money.
And charge it to your
Yeah, in charge of your
I
account.
like the way you think.
We're gonna blame it on him because he wasn't here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all your fault. You're the chairman. It's your fault.
Okay, David, you give us the director's report.
Yes, sir. Let's give him this code real quick. So we start with the water main replacement phase 4 project. Final walkthrough inspection was performed on Wednesday of this week. Punch list items were established and will be completed within the next board meeting on September 10th. Hello, we got you.
Yeah, you do, just so it doesn't get lost, maybe somebody can take the note. So the annotated voice, when you dial into the dial-in number, does tell you to push pound every time, but so that's probably needs to be correct.
Okay.
We'll address that.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. So, secondly, the lift station number 3, fourth main replacement project. A few punch list items remain to be completed and have been addressed, this week with the contractor and engineers. So we'll be tidying up that site. Sewer improvement project phase 3, basin 3, relining of the existing sewer mains within this basin area have been completed. Bottom to top construction will be moving into the excavation phase of the project to perform tank repairs, open cut replacement of certain sections of pipe, which have deteriorated and fractured beyond repair. I mean, more than we can reline. So we'll be replacing those. It's gonna impact largely in Diamond Head North traffic by Devil's Elbow. There's a large section there that has to be excavated and it's pretty deep. So it will affect traffic routes and they've got plans to put in place as needed. Just to let you know, you'll be seeing that going on there. We have an abandonment easement, 7513 Crooked Stick Drive in Glen Eagle. Phase 1 between lots 81 and 82. And it's been determined this easement is no use to the district at this time or the foreseeable future and is recommended for board approval abandonment as requested. Water Tower One Pink, project, actually. The pre-bid was held August 12th, yesterday. None of the 7 current plan holders attended this meeting. Not sure what that is an indication of, but we're hoping they will, bid it like we think they will, most of them anyway. Some highlights from the department, main department have been 2 sewer line backup investigations, 1 sewer line repair, 8 sewer cleanouts installed, 3 new sewer services connected, 11 water service repairs, 1 water main line repair at Hapuna. We had an additional water main repair, as you remember, on Hanley, which we'll talk about in a moment. 6 after-hour emergency calls, all being of water in nature. The Preserve Phase 2 subdivision, the installation of water and sewer infrastructure continues. Actually, today they were tapping into the water main on Diamond Head West that we talked about earlier. Diamond Head Lakes Phase 2 subdivision infrastructure installation is underway. Mauna Kea Townhomes project, they're still working on that 1 building. Harbor House condominiums on the south side, construction has began on a couple of units over there, or a couple of buildings. It's actually
Yeah.
3 units in each building.
3 units per building.
I have nothing on MDOT. The water main break that occurred on Hanley, I mentioned in the last meeting, and I just wanted to reiterate because we had another one Wednesday, July 22nd on Hapuna Place, close to that area. And it was in close proximity to a previous break in that section of pipe approximately a year ago. It appeared to be due to maybe the tightening of a megalug fitting onto the existing thin wall pipe, which is obviously aging and giving us a problem, just like it did on Hanley the previous break. I mentioned these because we have fought like the devil to apply for grants and apply for money and try to get assistance and try to replace as much pipe as we can. These side streets like Hapuna and Hanley were in a previous water main project that we had to take out because of budget constraints. So we have put some side streets back in this next project we're getting ready to do coming up in this year, this fiscal year. But again, just to reiterate, we're fighting like the devil to try to get some funding to get these pipes replaced as quick as we can. Sewer main collapse happened on Anella Street, actually, Thursday, July 23rd. This section of pipe was planned for relining within our current sewer improvement project, which is underway now. Within days of the collapse, we were supposed to be there relining it, and we didn't quite make it in time. But I called in Bottom Top Construction. Our personnel jumped into action. They created a detour for traffic, and no incidents occurred, so everything went really smoothly. Bottom to top was really excellent in getting here. They worked through a storm into that evening, got everything under control and flowing again, and cleaned everything up the next day. So that went really well. Kudos to everybody involved, our personnel and Bottom Top personnel. That's about it. The next meeting is scheduled for September 10th. Unless you have questions.
Anybody have any questions for David?
No, sir.
Okay, next item of business is a presentation of the fiscal year 2026/2027 rate study by Dr. Barfield. You have the floor.
Thank you. David, Tony, Mr. Bicep, Mr. Griffin met a few weeks ago, I'm not sure the exact date, and looked at what we had, and that subcommittee came up with this set of recommendations. Right now, we're setting, the system is setting it for residential service, which does include the multi-unit condominiums. $21.20 for the first 2,000 gallons of consumption. For water, $42.40 for 2,000 gallons. For sewer, $3.33 and $6.66 for the flow rates. Commercial service, you can see, I think Tony gave you all this presentation. You can see those rates. I won't read them to you. But there was a couple of, and with those rates and the current. No. I'm sorry. Somebody- oh.
I said, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever a line goes sharply down to the right, that is not good.
You know, That's not the worst line I've seen this year so far, I don't think.
Ain't the worst one I've seen.
Over the next 5 years, with a 5% increase in the budget, and the current budget that's been adopted, or going to be adopted by y'all proposed budget, this is kind of what the system's looking at if the rates stay the same where they're at. And so when the subcommittee got together, there was a couple of goals that I pulled out of that conversation. And these are what we use to try to set the proposed rates at. One, I believe firmly that when we look at the budget increases past FY 27 that Tony's going to give us, we need to use the producer price index rather than consumer price index, because y'all aren't consuming water, you're producing water. And pipe and brass fittings, I'm sure Joe and Dave can tell better stories than I can, are increasing dramatically. I had one operator tell me the other day that his price of pipe has gone up 50% over the last 3 years, which is a pretty good amount. The other thing, and this was brought up in this meeting last year, was to eliminate that declining block rate structure on commercial usage. And I think that Mr. Bisecker, Mr. Griffith felt that doing that over a 5-year period would be as good as any. We try to, it wouldn't give a big shock all at once. So we came up with this scenario. One, for residential water service, the water service base minimum rate would increase by 65 cents. That's really not very much. That's 2 cents a day a month. Sewer service would increase by double that, of course, $1.30. And then the flow rate would increase by 50 cents for FY 27, and sewer service would increase by $1. We had a pretty good jump in costs from last year, or from this year to what's being proposed next year, which is why those two base rates and flow rates are as high as they are. They deviate, they're a little bit higher than what we had planned on last year. But once we get past that, even going with that higher inflation rate budget, our flow rates are only going to have to increase by 25 cents a year for water, the base rate by 50, and then of course sewer double that. Future increases are pretty minimal. This one had to jump up just a little bit. Commercial, residential. The commercial service is what going to change somewhat. So water service, the base minimum would go up about the same percentage amount, $1.43 for the base. The flow rate would increase by 46 cents this year, goes to 50 and 25 like residential after that. Sewer service. That's for under 5,000 gallons of consumption, which is where that declining block rate comes in. If you remember, there's a higher rate for commercial service if you get 5,000 gallons, and that commercial rate drops down to the residential rate. And so that's what's being eliminated. This is what we're projecting will happen. Of course, it could be adjusted. This year, FY 27, the water rate, the flow rate for consumption over 5,000 gallons would increase by $1.65, to $4.98. Sewer would increase by $3.30 to $9.96. And then it's pretty even between the two. The reason the first year is so high is we had to jump up more from 26 to 27, taking account the increase in the budget. If we have to have another increase like that, which we don't think we will, but didn't think that last year either. If we have to have another increase like that, then in 28, that will jump up more than $1.15. That's what's going to happen. But the plan is now that this this structure, this set of increases will bring the commercial rate up over 5,000 gallons to what it was under 5,000. 2031, both rates will be 958 and 1960. That's what we were trying to do. With these FY 27 rates and the plan 28 through 31, this is the commercial service. This is what will happen. This is what we're thinking will happen. We think that we'll clear about $270,000 this year. That's not profit, that's revenue over expenses. That does include a little bit of capital purchases. Next year, we will have, supposed to say we'll have more capital purchases in this, so our budget's going to end up going up. But that's something that the committee will have to look at next year. This is just a comparison of the two graphs. Put them on the same thing. It's a good plan. I think it'll work. It's a much better plan than some of the other ones I've had to do this year. Believe me, they've been pretty bad. One question that's always come up is, well, what's this going to do to affect our customers? For a customer that uses water and sewer, both connections, and they're a minimum user, their bill will go up by $1.95. So about, less than 7 cents a day.
Do those highlight, those bolded areas show the typical user?
Now, that was my next question, or my next thing I was going to address. The median user for this system, where half the users are above it and half are below it, is 3,640 gallons. So right in the middle, that person's bill would go up by $4.41 or 5.5%. The average user is going to be higher because you've got some very high users with lawn irrigation. Basically, is going up 6.2%. And these will be lawn irrigators that don't have an irrigation.
Yeah, $5.40.
So, not less than 20 cents a day, even with that. And then, get up to the 12,000 gallons of usage, your bill goes up 10%.
Is this already decided? Or is
It's
this
what's
up for
on the vote.
discussion?
If you vote on this rate
Mhm.
scenario, this is what would happen
Are you to the end of your presentation yet?
almost.
Oh,
Well, what I'm going to now doesn't have anything to do with the rate structure. Do you have a question about the structure?
I do. If you go back to the residential increase of, I think it was 65 cents or whatever it was. Keep going. Maybe that's it. There. I understand and respect that that's a very conservative approach.
Mhm.
I would propose, rather than wrestling this alligator every year, for the residential, I understand getting past the block rate piece with the commercial. So I'm setting that aside. In my opinion, I'd rather see it go up like $1. I mean, I feel like we just keep skinning the cat every year, when I think it'd be better if we went up like $1 and then say, oh my gosh, we don't have to go up for 2 years or something. But I just worry, even though it's small, $1 is not a lot of money.
No,
And in respect to 65 cents, it's not that massive of an increase. I personally would probably front end it 27, 28, 29, or 27 and 29, and make it a little more aggressive so that we're not doing it every single year. Because we had so many questions and people don't really analyze it to understand that's $6 a month.
right.
They just know it increased.
And that shows that, there's two thoughts to it. One, do a big one and let it ride for a couple of years. The other one, keep them used to the things just like their cell phone bill, their electric bill, their gas bill.
I
goes up
respect
every
that.
year. That's up to you.
Well, and but I don't want to obviate or pretend that I don't understand the work that went into this. I get it, and I understand.
No, I know, that, I wouldn't think that at all.
But I would probably, just one guy, I would probably rather see it go up like $1 this year than $1.50 next year, and then maybe not have to mess with it every single year.
I would like to add, when Dr. Bearfield began and
Yeah.
we had him start, we had multiple meetings and let the public know that we promised this would take place every year and we would follow what the inflation was doing each year.
There you go.
And we made the board made the promise to the ratepayers that we would go through this every year, so that if in some case, if things were adjusting on the downward side, we could even adjust down. But if we looked at it each year, we'd get a fresh approach as to what the industry is showing us at that time. And that's kind of where we went with it.
That scares me about that, and it's only this year. This year is what kind of worries me. Tony told me while I was here, the next year's budget is gonna be very different because they're gonna have to include a lot of capital work on the budget. They haven't had to so.
I am aware.
Because the funding is
Yeah.
Flat.
It's
Is-
flat.
It's
it's
flat
flattening
or
out after
negative.
this year. Yeah.
So
We have had that
I
discussion.
think it would probably have, if we're gonna do something now, that's going to cover 28,
Correct.
the way she's talking, it may, cause you're already talking about on this, $1.15 increase
Yeah.
for
Yeah, you're
2
right.
years. Maybe looking at $3 or $4 to cover this capital stuff.
I know, and
on
I
top
get
of
it.
it.
And maybe that,
I get it.
In conjunction, if I may say,
Of course.
as we've talked about before, we're going to be looking at future bonds and future ways to fund these broken pipe replacements and such. So it could change very
Which will have to be
quickly.
funded. Yeah.
When the time is right, the numbers are right, everything falls into place, we'll be doing some bonds again.
Yeah, I see all sides of that, and I'm not trying to disrespect any previous decisions or communication. I'm just a guy that says, we fight, we have had many conversations in my tenure, which is not the longest tenure, about we go up 30 cents, people have a fit. Frankly, I'm tired of that. I'd rather go up $1.50, exaggerating for effect. If you want to be mad at me, be mad for $10. But don't be mad. I know it sounds horrible, but don't be mad at me for $3.50. I mean, geez, man. I had a next door neighbor, doesn't matter, it's anecdotal, come to me on the last increase. He goes, man, it's been, I think she said 74.80 or some number. It's been this forever. And now it's $76.
The problem.
I wasn't even sure how to react to that. I know I'm being very open and honest. It's like, well, I'm sorry.
It's
you know?
true.
You know, so for me, I would rather have that conversation where it went from $74 to $80. I mean, that's an exaggeration as well. That's it. I'm done.
I get the same argument, but I
So let me
usually
chime in here. If I may, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate that whole bit more than you could know, your engagement there, Commissioner Dippy. The problem is, it's almost a little theoretical that we're pulling capital projects in off in that number. And up to $80, we're gonna raise it again next year. It's just gonna happen. So when we have to move to a new CIP backed, run at a bond consolidation, new money, that's a completely different proposition and a whole different increase, which will come with a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, we're splitting hairs here. Right now, the anecdotal corollary I would give is exactly what Tony went through. We could look anybody in the eyes without even blinking and pass the integrity test that we have run this process like we said we would run it.
It's true.
And we are solvent. We're not cash flush. We're not in a position to move out on major capital improvement projects based on that rate. So that wasn't its intent anyway. And the other thing is, we've had, I'm talking about the level of noise, unless it was not described to me properly, after each one of these rate increases is almost non-existent,
It's true. It's been minimal.
okay? So I'm not sure that, you know, don't get me wrong. I think we ought to go up a lot, but I think it would come with a lot of pain in advance of when we're going to go for a bond.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I wasn't in that camp. I was in that camp certainly intellectually, but I wasn't in that camp operationally. So that being what it may, we're a board of 5. So I'd entertain anything. I think this gets us through the last current bond expenditure cycle, and we're going to have to fish or cut bait. The next year's going to be a different proposition.
Well said.
Yeah, no, that is very well said.
So
Adams,
with that said, I would say for those reasons, unless that could be debated down, we, on the same merits, we could show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years running that we ran this model exactly as we said we would. So, and let it go at that. And that, even at that, you may not really appreciate it, but we monkeyed that. We jacked the increases more than you think. The first one was slight.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and I know from the first day I was on the board until today, it's been magnificent progress. I want to acknowledge that. But
yeah.
I'd like to see us in a cycle where we're way ahead of it, and that's
The only way
progress.
I'm with you. The only way we're going to get ahead of it is, and we'll have this conversation in earnest this coming year. Is we're going to have to, we're going to deal with the slings and arrows regardless. If we go for, well, we're going to have to go.
Right.
We go for a rate increase that's basically, matching our level of debt required to repair infrastructure. One of the things, and I'll be the first to admit it has been bleak, but the other side of it is we suffer from assistive politics.
Yes.
We don't have it, and we run our own shop. We run it well, but no one is giving us squat. So that. Anybody's got a solution to that, I'm all ears.
New elected officials, perhaps? I don't know.
Again,
I said new elected officials, but that's.
those new elected officials, I'm going to tell you right now and get them on recording. Right now, have been very unimpressive.
Amen.
Grossly unimpressive. So, do I want to go in there and be equally unimpressed with imagining them? The only thing I can say is, yes, there are some local politics we have not carried out properly. I, again, take responsibility for that. But it's to sit down and recognize that we are actually partners, whether we acknowledge it or not. But their plans are bigger than the infrastructure we have. So their little butt's going to have to get involved, or say my culpa to the ones that they are propositioning. I don't know if that makes sense.
It did.
Absolutely.
Or not, but I don't, even in their own doing, they're not exactly knocking it out of the freaking park. So, Diamond Head just suffers from too high cash flow in the grand scheme of limited money,
Yeah.
and that's just plain and natural fact. And so but it doesn't say we shouldn't go knocking. In fact, we should go knocking really, really hard. But absent that, we just heard in the beginning of the report, you got things failing. We didn't anticipate failing. We thought we were at least going to limp it along. So the bells, they're ringing.
We didn't fail, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did not fail, they did, that's correct.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
executive director's report today emphasizes that. I mean, we had a main break before a
That's
planned,
exactly what, that's
within
exactly
days.
where I was going.
Yeah. Within days of a planned repair. So, I mean, that,
That speaks for itself.
it hurts. That's painful. It would have been so much smoother to have the planned repair.
So here's predates you, Commissioner. Here's a really hard one to chew on. We recognized this years ago, actually, when we passed the bond and we were moving into the expense cycle, but knowing full good and well what the horizon looked like. But while we had done all that work for the consolidation stand down and everything, we had a lot of really critical information for the public to understand what serves them, where it is weak, why they're going to become invested partners and all of that. We could buy them dinner. I think we could have given concert tickets away. We tried at least a half a dozen things and at most had 2 people attend the meeting. So think about that. 2 people. We did them in the evening. We decided it was consult that everybody's got to do at 6 kind of thing. We chose the day to stay away from church and everything else. Crickets. So it's a challenge.
It is.
And if I'm overstating that, David or anybody else, you just chime right on in.
Perfectly said.
Well,
Those were the facts.
I think it's a good plan. So you can't knock a good plan. And it certainly, through time, solves one of our problems with the commercial pricing. So that's a
It
big
does.
win.
And the commercial is out of whack. It's still frankly out of whack, but it's still Diamond Head. Every city has even as young as this one has a personality. That's why we did the phase out plan. But that was preferential commercial pricing by preferentially commercial people being on the board years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a vested interest in what that rate looks like. And they will no doubt, I'm sure they'll be hunting in the margins regardless because they've been enjoying a lot that they're not going to enjoy. So, but nonetheless, hey, put your big boy panties on, right? Let's play.
Okay. You want to go ahead with the rest of your?
We didn't finish. No, it was me.
That was a little bit more than you needed.
All good.
I was the holdup.
That's great.
No. I mean, that's what this,
That's just what this
there
was.
was a question last year, and so I went in and did some digging. Much more digging than I thought I was gonna have to do. What did Diamond Head's rates look like compared to some of the other communities down here? And these are the ones on or close to the coast that I could find. Now, I will say a couple of things. One, the Kill Utility and Fire District, that's their current rates. They're getting ready to go up, Tony,
I don't know.
pretty substantially in the, hopefully next month. I just did their rate study for them. I would tell you Bay St. Louis is, I think, artificially low.
How do they do that? Do you know?
Gas.
Subsidies.
If you got gas, I forgot about that. If you got
Is that how they do it?
Gas helps.
So they lower your water if you have gas?
And raise gas. No, they raise the gas price and
They offset it.
But it doesn't look as bad.
Doesn't look
because
as bad.
You don't use as much gas as you do water.
Mhm.
That's the thing of it. And they haven't raised theirs in a couple of.
decade, yeah.
Well, no, they raised them
Are they?
last year. It was, I guess it was last year they raised them some. A lot more than the mayor wanted, but he agreed with it.
Gulfport has a bigger base to spread it across.
Gulfport, Biloxi,
Yeah.
I think Biloxi's up there,
It is.
has a bigger base. And I know that looking at this looks concentrated, but when you look at Gulfport, Biloxi, that's really concentrated.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot more meters per mile.
Absolutely.
West Jackson County Utility District, their rates, their commercial is much higher than their residential, but they have, and I'm really not exaggerating, I did one of these tools for them a few years back. They've got like 40 or 45 different rates. By the time, grinders, utility on the grinder, or what size line, it's pretty amazing.
I have seen models like that in Kentucky. That same kind of model, where if you have a grinder, you know, if you shred it, and on and on and on.
Yeah, Moss Point, to be honest, theirs is so high because if you've ever been in Greenville or in the Delta and drank some of the brown water, the organic coloring, it takes a while to get used to it. You can get used to it.
Wow.
Moss Point had that problem. And so they installed a tremendous nanofiltration system to take that out, which is much better than overloading it with chlorine and giving everybody cancer on it. But they have a special charge tacked onto their bill that's separate. People can see this is simply because of filtration. You go on the website. Pascal Google's a little bit. But that's how DWSD kind of ranks up with everyone else. I have done studies for Bay St. Louis, Kill, Moss Point, Waveland, and West Jackson County Utility District. And I don't know whether this is good or bad. Y'all make this. Diamond Head does more constant upgrade and repair work, upgrade work, not repair, upgrade work than probably all the rest of those put together. I think that you build up their budget. If you continually upgrade the facility, it's going to cost money in the short term, but you'll end up saving in the long term.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving forward. The construction and engineering projects. I need a motion to approve the agenda items numbered 6.1 through 6.6, which have been placed on the consent agenda. The same appears to be routine, non-controversial matters on which all commissioners are likely to agree.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Unanimous. Okay. Financial docket of claims. I need a motion to approve payment of a docket of claims in a total amount of $340,079.79 as attached here too.
So moved.
Wait a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I need a motion to acknowledge payment of the unapproved docket of claims as detailed in section 6 in the total amount of $76,436.50 as attached here too. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Gotta get a motion to approve payment of the customer deposit refund register in the total amount of $7,146.30 as attached here too.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Ms. Tony, I'll turn it over to you for the treasurer's report.
Our available bank balance as of July 31st was $5,148,488.33. Of this available balance, $1,799,988 is budgeted in a 5-year CIP plan. $2,609,512 is for operating and maintenance, and the remaining $738,989 is emergency reserve. The bond principal debt balance is $16,139,000. Our bad debt transfers for July were 0, so year-to-date remains $1,300.62. Our revenues are at 78% for the year, which is below budget, and our expenses are at 75%, which is also below budget for the year. The July bill cycle indicates that operating revenue increased 6% from last month and 7% from the same time last year. Our operating ratio goal is 1.10, and we're at 1.78. And our debt ratio goal is 1.25, and we're at 1.64. And our CIP project spending is at 45% for the year. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Sir.
None from here.
Let's move on to the presentation of the fiscal year 2026/2027 proposed budget.
Thank you, guys. The letters in the far right column of the budget copy that you have in your packet have corresponding notes on pages 5, 6, and 7, which provides details specifically for those particular line items. Our operating revenues, which is letter A, the 6.3 million is taken from the presented rate study, indicating a $505,000 increase from last year. Our service fee revenues, which is letter B, estimated to decrease approximately $20,000 based on current year-to-date numbers. In letter C, the other revenues, which includes the new connections and interest income, is estimated to decrease approximately $70,000 due to less new connections than anticipated and less interest income as we spend down the funds in the bank. The net result is the estimated overall revenue of $6.7 million, which is an increase from last year of $415,000. Now, moving on to expenses. For expense budget purposes, we used an average producer price index, or PPI, of approximately 5%. As of June, the 12-month wholesale inflation rate was 5.5%, but we are using 5% for most line items. Some are estimated to increase more than that, others less, based on year-to-date spending. Letters D and E, which is wages, taxes, and retirement, are detailed in the notes on page 5. As board directed, an annual cost of living adjustment is using a factor of 75% of the 5% PPI, along with up to a 3% minimum increase as determined by employee evaluation and the executive director. Letter F is the employee insurance renewal information, but that will not come from carriers until the end of October or early November, but estimating that as a 10% increase based on last year's renewal. In G, which is field supplies, we're estimating that as a decrease this year of about $39,000. As with the lower number of new connections this year, budget supplies were not needed, so reducing the line item budget for this coming year. And most of the remaining expense line items here are using the same 5% PPI other than property insurance, which again, we're using a 10% increase based on the renewal. And there's some line items, we're estimating not to increase at all. So we're leaving those the same. So the total expense budget of $3.9 million, which is an increase of $242,000 from last year, accounts for 60% of our budget revenues for the year. The net inflow of the $2.7 million from operating will be used for debt service payments and some capital outlay. On page 2, the net surplus is showing $156,432. The budget shows us that the anticipated revenues will fund operations along with some capital outlay to go alongside the remaining capital funds that we have in the bank during this coming year. We touched on that earlier. It's important to note that the operating and debt ratio goals do exceed our goals. The annual CIP summarized on page 2 for the capital outlay, which is detailed on page 7, letter J. The small numbers on the far left column are detailed on page 9. The projects are detailed on page 9, just for your reference. We're not going to go through each project, but there are a few current projects that are rolling into next year that aren't complete yet, along with some pump station improvements this coming year. At the bottom of page 7, you'll see letter M, which is to recommend continuing the $30,000 monthly transfer from operating to reserves for future equipment, both towers, 10-year Department of Health requirements that we have to abide by the equipment, SCADA, and treatment plant equipment needs. Which we'll note that that is also included in part of the rate study that's included in those numbers. Page 8 is our 5-year CIP plan. And taking the cash on hand as of the end of May, which was what we had in the bank in CIP and reserves, plus the net inflows from operations, plus the remaining GOMESA funds that we still have to receive, less the debt payments, provides us a starting point for the available project spending. Our plan is to spend approximately $3.3 million this coming fiscal year, with an additional $4.3 million budgeted to spend over the remaining 4 years. And as mentioned earlier, if grant funding is approved, we will be able to continue with the next water and sewer improvement phase. An annual analysis was done of the new connection and service fees. And based upon district current cost, we are recommending that some changes be made to the cost of new connections, such as the 3/4 inch meters for new services to increase by $126, the 1 inch meters to increase by $227, and the 6 inch meter to actually decrease by $800, and all sewer connections to increase by $35. The after hours fee to increase by $25, and then camera inspections to increase by $10. Also, the residential deposits for new services would recommend increased to $25, from $225 to $250. That was determined by using the median bill that Dr. Fairfield mentioned earlier, to determine the deposit that's needed in order to cover from consumption to cutoff, which is in our ordinances. In summary, the district estimates to have a net operating surplus of $156,000. Our ratios exceed the goals, and $3.3 million to be spent on capital improvements this year. This all shows that the recommended rate and fee changes, along with the remaining CIP funds in the bank, will allow the district to operate, complete current capital improvements in the next year, and begin some small projects over the next few years. Any questions for me?
Awesome. Nice sharp budget.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the advertisement of the fiscal year 2026/2027 budget and rates public hearing notice to be held on September 10th, 2026 at 4 p.m. as attached here too?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Old business, there is none. New business. A motion to approve Graphite Payments Credit Card Merchant Processing Agreement and to authorize the chairman to execute same. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Unanimous. Motion to approve the abandonment of utilities easements at 7513 Crooked Stick Drive in Glen Eagle Phase 1 between lots 81 and 82 for the Diamond Head Water and Sewer District Water Use Ordinance, page 10, section 9.8.1.
So moved.
And that's what we talked about earlier in the executive director's report. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. The next meeting of the Board of Commissioners is scheduled for September 10th, 2026 at 4 p.m. at the Diamond Head Water and Sewer District Conference Room, 4425 Park Bend Drive, Diamond Head, Mississippi. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen.